another thing I wanted to talk about too was, again, it's going to be 10 years for the infamous playoff run that you were a part of in 2014 with the Habs. Um, you know, it feels like yesterday for me. I was grade 12 in high school. Senior year, second semester, and just that playoff run will always be like a memory of mine for the rest of my life. And is that still, that's something that you'll always cherish for a while?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. The memories, I created in that playoff run. When I think on my career, when I do, flashback or think about it, like that's obviously to me, that was the highlight. That first stint when I came to Montreal, to when I got traded, that was obviously the highlight of the NHL for me. All aspects, the players that I played with, the coaching, management, team, city, everything was the pinnacle for me. I can't believe it's been 10 years when I look back and think about it. It literally feels like yesterday. I remember all the moments, before Game 7. I can tell, just the little things that you just will never forget. That was pretty special. I had a couple of good 10-year memories. We had the brawl with Vancouver, Calgary that came up that I was in.
Oh, that's right.
I think that was 10 years too.
Yep.
And then I saw one in January. It might have been, I feel like I was 11 years. I think it was 2013 when I got in the brawl with Boston. We were at the line brawl too, the first game back with Vancouver. So I've had a lot of those this year in the last 2 years of pretty good memories that have popped up from 10 years ago. It makes you think, holy smokes, that was a long time. And makes you think how quick things fly by.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, it just, the time really flies, and it's just like the snap of a finger. It's like boom, right?
And it's so cool. It's so cool. Sorry to.
No, go ahead, buddy.
All the Habs fans that I speak with now, or I see out in public, or whatever, I do a couple of these Hockey Helps the Homeless. We get a lot of Montreal fans up there, and I did an alumni tour where I went to a lot of Habs fans, and just that era of people that grew up in those years, like yourself, when you're a young kid, and like those are the teams you remember, like the 14, 15 teams and those players, and it's pretty cool to think about.
Absolutely, man. Like those teams were really lights out. Around that time, like there was, you could just tell, like even just from a fans aspect, you could just see how close the room was, and you guys there was just such a good group of players. I know we've talked about it in the past too, how you think Berge split up the core maybe a little bit too early, and I do agree with you. I think that you guys had a really good thing going at that time. I think maybe should have kept it for another year or two and tried
at least. I mean, again, we've talked about it, and I love talking about it because I think it just really Lars Eller, me, Subi, Pacioretty shortly after, just way too fast. Desharnais, after me, guys that were really good players for us that made the good core of our team. We lost the best goaltender in the world that time. That's why we weren't winning games. It had nothing to do with the team. The best goaltender in the world that made our team extremely well got hurt. You can't replace him, and he just blew the team up for that. That one I'll never let go.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it was one thing I actually wanted to share with you too. And I believe you scored your first goal with the Habs in Buffalo against the Sabres in March of 2014 around St. Patrick's Day. And it was crazy enough. I was actually at that game. I don't think I've ever told you, but I was at that game.
Oh, yeah, you never told me that.
Yeah. My parents and my brother and I, the four of us, made the trip down to Buffalo, watch that game, and I saw you score your first goal with the Habs.
Yeah.
I just wanted to share that too. So
That's awesome.
man.
You never told me that.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, and I wanted to circle back to the 2014 run, and I know I know what Lucic said to you in the handshake line, but would you be able to explain or tell what he said maybe to some people that don't know what he said?
Yeah, I think if people know the backstory, they saw how the whole series went, and I had him and Sean Thornton just so wound up, and I don't know if it was a spit. Was it? I don't know if it was a spit and chick. No, it wasn't Chicklets. It was John Scott's podcast. I don't know, sometime in the last year where he was talking about it, and you could see the guy still getting heated about it. So that's when you're really in a guy's head. If 10 years later he's still talking about it, and you can see the frustration in him still, shaking hands. He's going through the line, and I can see like he's having a confrontation with every single person and shaking hands. I'm like, what is going on here? Then he grabs my hand. He's like, I'm going to kill you next year. And then like keeps going and tells Emlyn the same thing. And it was like, just never seen that before in a handshake line.
Yeah, that's pretty wild too. Like I remember you saying back then too, and I remember seeing it throughout the series. Like Sean Thornton was on the Bruins at that time too. And I remember, I think on Habs Tonight on one of the streams, you said word for word, you said Thornton would have given up his paycheck to fight you, as you were just living in their heads rent free, like that whole series. It was beautiful. It was, man, great.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. He it's so funny, man. Like he was just, that's all he could think about. And at that time, the Merlot line, like him, Paille, and Campbell was considered the best fourth line in hockey. They set the record as 119 points or whatever it was before Boston beat it, or Tampa beat it in 21, and then Boston beat it last year, I think. But that was a best record at that time, and they had nothing, man. We were dominating that line. I had a couple goals in the series. Like, not only was I not fighting them, I was, finishing checks, like just rattling people and scoring at the same time. So it was frustrating for them.
I remember one clip. I think I don't know if it was the breakaway goal or it was another one you scored, I think in game 6. But I remember because early on in the series, Lucic scored the empty netter and he started pounding his chest.
Yeah, I think that was game 2 for him.
Yes, that's right. And then I remember you scored a goal the next game, or a goal throughout the series.
That was right in that very next game.
Okay, yeah. And then I remember you skated by and did it too, and I was like, oh, that's fucking great. I was ecstatic about that.
It gives me chills thinking about that, how loud the building was. That was the breakaway goal where Danny B hit me on the breakaway. Like, I don't know if I've ever heard a building that loud. Like, if I could go back to that 5 seconds of a game, that might be the ones that I would go back to.
Yeah, I bet, man. I remember even just watching it on TV. Like, I was in my living room with my brother and my mom, and you could just hear on the TV just the roar of the crowd. It was just like it was like art. I don't know how else to explain it, but it was just.
You're telling the right guy, man.
Yeah, it's insane.
Those memories I bring, if I'm on YouTube with my kid or something, or my little guy, and so that goal I'll bring up a little from time to time and watch that. It's just you relive the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.